Okay, you've done the dogs.
Done the dogs.
We've got to do dresses now.
Let's do it.
Because Ofcom received 200 complaints about your...
200?
Yeah, 198,
Out
I
of
believe.
13.2 million that watched.
I think 198 in total. You sound like a BBC press officer there, Alesha. The dresses for the final.
Yes.
Did you have a long, hard think about those, or did you look at each other and think, let's rock these babies?
Do you know what? It wasn't even a second thought. It was just a fabulous Michael Costello gown, and I was honoured to wear it. I still don't see what the fuss is over the dress.
Did you and Amanda talk about what you were both going to wear with each other before you went out?
No, we never do.
So it was just total coincidence that there was navel plunging.
Well, my navel, you couldn't see
Navel
my navel,
plunging.
and I don't have any boobies, and you couldn't see them either.
Would it have been, that's a really interesting point, though, from a female perspective. If you had had big boobies, would you have worn that dress?
No.
No.
There you go.
But you can see, that's interesting, though, isn't it? Because just because you don't necessarily have a lot of cleavage, there's still quite a lot of flesh on show, and it is a family programme.
I don't agree. I actually think they were perfectly beautiful gowns, and I don't see what the fuss is about. Honestly, fashion is, I think we need to lighten up a little bit, actually. Fashion is there to have fun with, and we certainly make the most of it on the show.
It's a difficult line, isn't it, that you have to tread because...
Yes, it is, but I would have to say, I've worn so many outfits over the last 15 years that have been far more... you could say slightly controversial than that gown on the show, and no one's ever said anything. So I honestly just think it's just another storm in a teacup.
Because you do, obviously, in your job, have to be, want to be, and are glamorous and look great and wear beautiful dresses, have the opportunity to wear great dresses by great designers. But on the flip side of that as well, you're a role model, aren't you, for lots of young girls? So do you feel that sometimes it's difficult to tread that line? And do you feel like you always get there?
No, I think that I think I tread the line perfectly well. I think that I wear things that I feel comfortable in, I feel good in, I carry myself respectfully. If I'm okay with it, that's the most important thing. But obviously you're conscious of what you do. But if I honestly felt there was an issue, then I would put my hands up and say there's an issue. But I honestly don't think that there was.
And did you look at Amanda's and think, a bit too much boob?
I just thought she's got great boobs. She does.
Can I ask, on this same sort of issue of sort of body image and stuff like that, Alesha, the video for your most recent single.
Yes.
When you come to do something like that, for those who haven't seen it, it's quite a bit of you in a skimpy cosy on the beach, isn't there?
Yes, I'm wearing a gold swimming costume with lots of gold chains wrapped around it, yes.
When you sit there with your producers and come up with the ideas for videos and things like that, does anyone ever say, do you know what, let's try do something a little bit different. Let's not go down that road. Because, you are an example to many, and Sarah was saying...
I think what you guys have to remember is, I'm 36 years old.
Yeah.
And I think it's all relative, isn't it? I think there's nothing wrong with a woman expressing themselves.
But no one does anything different in those videos.
Well, some artists do. I guess it's down to artistic licence, isn't it? And freedom of expression, I think people are so judgmental, and I think we have to relax a little bit and allow people breathing space to be who they are. I think it's how you carry yourself and who you are as a person is far more important. And again, I think we've got to really think carefully about, is this crossing a line, or is this a fuss over nothing?
So it is something you genuinely think about when you're doing those videos?
I think just generally in life, like I'm always conscious of what I do and how I carry myself and who I am as a person is very important. And I like to set a good example. And if I ever feel like I'm doing something that's wrong or slightly controversial, I would rein it in. But I think the way I carry myself is great. And so I would never apologise for that.
Because we spoke to Leona Lewis, excuse me, on exactly the same issue just a few weeks ago, Alesha, and she was saying that she deliberately, consciously, in her latest video, kind of pared it back, so there was less of the bling and less of the flesh, I guess, because she'd written a letter. I don't know if you know about this. She'd written an open letter talking about some tough times that she'd had to her fans, and they responded hugely, and a lot of them talking, especially the younger women, talking about how they had body image issues and how they were worried about how they should look all the time, and if bearing flesh was important, and they felt like that maybe it was important to make themselves appealing as young women. And she was saying that that's one of the reasons that she deliberately kind of took a step back from that kind of video this time around. And
that's totally her choice, and the way we are, if people listen to the lyrics on that song, it's actually talking about people being comfortable in their own skin, being proud of who they are. We're all individuals, we're all different, and that should be celebrated. And I always say to young girls, being the best you is the best thing that you can be in life. You don't have to look like someone else or be like someone else to be accepted, and that is actually what inspired the lyrics in the song in the first place. So it's a very interesting point, but I think individual people should be allowed freedom to express themselves